All right, welcome back to the CMA Foundation's educational series. So you want to write a song? It's me, Kenny Foster, and man, I'm really, really excited about today. Look, if everything up to now was training, this is, at the very least, a scrimmage, okay? We have to put all of the fundamentals we've learned into a real-time situation. In the previous episodes, we've talked about the big idea. What were we trying to say? To whom? For what reason? What should that feel like? We've talked about the rules, the structure of a song, verse, pre-chorus, channel, chorus, bridge. How does each one of those work to serve the big idea we came up with? And also, the third episode was the work that's involved in writing these poems that we're putting to music, dealing with rhyme scheme, meter, and syllable spacing. And now it's time to put all of that together in episode 4 in what I call the craft. So we have to consider all of the expectations of a listener and structure, timing, length, clarity, and also the desires of us, the writers, in messaging, melody, emotion, feel. And then we have to assemble a cohesive piece of work that makes it all happen at once. Like, we have a lot of work to do today, and even more we have to discuss surrounding the big idea that we picked last time. Because maybe things have changed. The world has changed so much since we recorded our last episode. And I want to hear from what our future songwriters from the Harmony Project are thinking about crafting today. So without further ado, guys, how are you? Welcome to it. Episode 4, The Craft. We are well over halfway point. We're into episode 4, and it's time to put to work. You guys sent me in your homework, and it was awesome. Thank you. You went above and beyond. We were just looking for ideas. But I got prose. I got lines. It was really special. It was cool to see the beginnings of what a song could be. The only thing really missing from a lot of them was the music, to be honest, because I just got sent the lyric. But we're here today, guys. I just want to let each one of you know that I love you so much, and I want us all to be good and equal participators in this thing that we call life and democracy together. And I just want you to know that I'm going to do everything that I can. And I think a lot of the good people that I know are doing the same thing that they can. So love you guys. Without further ado, let's talk about it. So last week we talked about a big idea, and we had one thing that we were dealing with, which was COVID, which was pandemic, which was a shutdown. And the crazy thing is that has not changed. We're still in the middle of that. But there's also this other thing. It's more pressing. Somebody that I know put out, he said, it was as if you had a bunch of bees swarming around you, but then your friend outside was fighting a bear. And so you decided to go fight the bear and not worry about the bees. And that was an interesting way of putting it. It was just the interesting. So the thing is, we have a lot of issues that are facing us as people, not just as Americans, but I can't imagine what you guys are going through as kids in the middle of this. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, kids, but like, I mean, you're having to grow up so fast during this time, it feels like to me. So why don't we do this? Hannah, do you want to start off, like, because I know that we had the big idea originally was, what do we hope the world is different after the pandemic is over, after COVID is over, when we can go back to something what we hope was more than normal. But things have happened since then. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about things that you hope are different when we're over this?
Well, for one, I'm definitely seeing a lot of change in like my family specifically. Like I'm very much like fighting for like BLM rights and stuff and all that, but my parents are very conservative, and having to like talk to them and explain the situation and like help them understand. So I think for me personally, what I would like to see different is like that sort of openness to understanding, and because that's something even I had to struggle with, I feel like, in the beginning.
Okay.
But I'm seeing like super slow progress, but it's definitely there. But yeah, I want to see that in like everyone, because I feel like that's where it starts, is within you, and just realizing that maybe you don't know the reality of the situation in the world that we live in, for like every single person.
Sure. Well, it's almost super difficult to sort of like touch someone. I think about the movie The Matrix all the time. Have you guys seen this one? So Keanu Reeves is this character where he finds out he's basically a robot in the real world and that everything around us is just a simulation in a computer somewhere. Anyway, it's awesome. You need to go check it out. I just, spoiler alert. But there's a point in this movie where they, in the real world, hook him up to a computer and they download all this information into his brain so that he has it now. And they plug him in and then they gave him a program called Kung Fu, and it's all of a sudden, and he wakes up from it and he goes, I know Kung Fu. And I just freaking love that line. I love, because it's just, it's a silly, it's silly, and I don't know if he means to deliver it so silly, but I don't know, it doesn't matter. But we can't just do that in the real world. We can't just touch someone and show them the whole of our experience, right? We can't like just give someone empathy right out of the gates. You know, we can't just touch them and have them see the things that we've seen or feel the way that we feel. Man, that'd be helpful, which is why I'm really glad that we're trying to write a song, because maybe we can do some of that. Do you know what I'm saying? We're trying to pull people into empathy, into understanding. Derek, buddy, what's going on with you, man?
As in, like, how the
Yeah,
week
what do you think about pandemic, the systemic issues that we're talking about, the
Yeah,
protests, any of it? Yeah, talk to me about it.
I don't know. It just wild, like everything. Like 2020 has just been like so real. Like everything's happening all at once. Like the pandemic is just like something we're all kind of living with now, and then like other stuff are happening, and then I'm pretty sure more things are gonna happen.
Hmm.
So it's pretty like rough, and like new stuff are happening. I feel like people are just thinking about it going back to normal instead of it actually going back to normal. I feel like it's still gonna be a little while.
Do you think normal is even attainable right now? You can be honest. You don't have to. What do you think, Derek?
Uh, yes, but it's still gonna be like we're gonna have to learn to go back to normal
Okay.
because it's like this has been happening for like the pandemic and stuff, and now like the recent stuff that has happened. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff happened at once,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of gonna be abnormal to go back to normal. But it's
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good. So I think we're gonna be fine, and like issues are gonna be solved, and like if we made it here, we could get past like this year for sure. So yeah.
Hey, Angela, what do you think about what Derek just said?
Well, yeah, I agree. Like honestly, I just think, well, as far as the pandemic goes, like I definitely see us like going back to normal. Yeah, things like not normal, but like we'll definitely have to adjust. But I do think that like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and like we're definitely going to get out of this. But it's crazy to me how we're living in 2020 and like we still see like so much hatred. And it really hurts because like you would think by now we would all be like together and like united, but like it just doesn't really seem like that. And obviously like with the protests, like people are hurting, like these are real issues that people like. I'm so shocked, like it's like it hurts, like it hurts me, and it should hurt everyone should be hurting. So yeah, I think like after these protests, like there's definitely going to be change because I've seen it happen. I've been signing petitions, people have been donating. It's like it's just crazy how like I think it was so built up to where people couldn't even like just even this is the only way they could express it.
Sure.
I think. And I just think, I mean, it says a lot about society and how we've like how there's still hatred and how like we need to grow out of that.
Sure.
So
Does it seem strange to you as kids that this is still an issue? I mean, I'm older than you guys, but like I still am like the fact that we're still talking about this, that there have been, I mean, part of the problem is not everybody recognizing the systems that have been in place to keep this thing going, and almost keep it out of view of the people that have sort of sat by complacently, what, but it does seem weird that hatred exists at all, right? I mean, am I just, Is that a youth thing? Is that an idealism thing? What?
It is kind of weird because, like, you think about it and it's like, oh, segregation ended and stuff like that. Like, but you think about it and it's just like 50 years ago.
I know.
Like, you think about, or like a little more than that, but like you think about like World War II and like the crazy stuff that happened there, not just in Germany, but like in Japan and like in Russia, like the gulags and stuff, and like millions of prisoners of war. That was only like 70, 75 years ago.
Sure, a couple
So
generations.
it's like right now we're living and it's like nowhere nearly as bad as it was. Like
Sure.
it's not nearly as bad. Like we have come a long way, but I mean there are still like some cracks that need to be fixed, you know?
I think we've come a long way, but not long, like not that much, because like it's like, I mean, luckily I've never had to experience like being discriminated. Like I've just like I grew up like with a really like go to diverse school and everything, but like I've have friends who've like told me their stories, and like it just sucks because I have such a diverse friend group, and like I couldn't even imagine like having hatred towards someone because they're different than you. Like that to me is just like insane. Like I still, and it's like it seemed like normal. Like it's normal. Oh, he's racist or he's this, when that shouldn't even be like a thing. Like I just think it's so insane how we should have progressed way more than we have, because like it's just, I don't know, it really sucks. Like I hurt so much for like the Black Lives Matter movement. It's just I mean, they have a right to be mad. I would be mad too.
Sure. And what were you gonna say? So.
I mean, they said it all. It's really, I mean, I'm not too shocked because I see the way that like people around me, I'm not saying like people around me are racist, but like there's definitely like from the moment we're born, there's almost that sort of like value set upon us, you know? Like I'm not saying that I don't think I've ever experienced like actual like racism, and I've never been like very discriminated against, but like it's a very Filipino thing to be like for my birthday, like I'll get whitening soaps, you know, and for my like for Christmas I'll get like whitening lotion, and it's just like that's just normal. So, but like in the Philippines, it's not violent. You don't get shot at for running or for sleeping or for breathing. You know, that's not a thing there. And then you just come over here, and it's so ridiculous. And when you see the statistics of just like how long police officers have to train to become police officers and to like have a gun in their hands, and just everything else, I don't know, it's just this whole week has just been like, that's really eye-opening. So I feel like I'm a lot less naive, but at the same time there's like that bubble of like, oh, I'm in LA, I'm in the most like diverse place, like everything's perfect here. Like maybe for me, you know.
Okay. So what is it that you think, if I can ask, this is a question for all of you, what is it that you think, if you've not experienced it yourself, how is it that you have the ability to imagine it?
Well, I just think, I see a lot of people, this is like kind of similar to what you're saying, but I see a lot of people being like, oh, like, I didn't even know, like, the United States was still, like, racist, or, like, it was still going on. But I'm like, no, it's always been this way, but now we have phones, and now we have social media. Now we can see people in Minnesota, or we see, like, the things that happen, like, all over the states, or even outside of the world, like, I mean, outside of, like, the country. Like, we see that happening, and it's just like, that's how I've been able to just like, I watch the videos and I'm like, how is that even, how does that even happen? Like, how does that even, and yeah, like you were saying, like Los Angeles, like I think, oh, well, you know, I see so many people that look like me, or I see people that look different than me, and like I've never had to experience like defending myself because my mom's speaking Spanish, or like I haven't ever had to like defend her. And I've seen videos like that, you know, if someone like attacks someone for speaking another language. I've never had to deal with that, but I know of people who have had to deal with that, or you know, have been uncomfortable because they were the only Black person in the room, and you know, they just like don't. And I have friends who told me about things, and you know, I'm never going to have to. Maybe if I go to another state, I'll have to feel that, but as long as I'm here, I won't. But as long as we have phones and social media, like we're always going to know what's going on. And I think it's been helpful, because if it wasn't for the phones, would we have even known about George Floyd's situation? You know?
We'll never know, will we?
Most likely not.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here, guys. There's a lot to unpack. But it sounds like you guys are at least along the same lines. So I feel like we've got a couple of big ideas here that we should think about. I think we should think about, let me read a few of the lines of what you guys were talking about that I just kind of wrote down as we were here. Derek, I liked one of yours that said, we made it here, we can make it through this or make it past this. I think that's a really cool message of hope. I think that's a neat thing to go around. There was something, Angela, you were saying about the phones. And to me, the image that came on was like being able to shine a light on it. Like the fact that you can actually, part of the reason was we couldn't see some of the stuff that was going on, but now there's everyone's around to sort of shine a light on it, so to speak. That's an interesting thing. And I'm trying to figure out, you said progress is slow, but it's still there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I have family who just came from the Philippines, and so like you see the situation of the US with like fresh eyes. That's really hard to explain, and it's really hard to make them understand, but I am seeing progress with them, like knowing the truth about what's going on and not being full of like the delusion of like, oh, Trump is perfect.
So let's talk about, I like the sense of hope. I think where we were going last time, the thing that we wanted to do with our big idea was to say what we want to be different on the other side of this. I think we can still do that. This changed, but I don't think the emotions of wanting to be something better than normal on the other side of this, I don't think that's changed at all. So let's try to find some words and some concepts, and try to figure out what we want to do. Does this want to be a message of hope, or does this want to be a message of resigning to working? Like what's tracking with you guys? Do we want this to just be hopeful? Because that's a feel to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. I've never written anything not sad before, so I don't know how to,
That's fair.
With that.
That's fair. I remember Derek being a little cynical about, I don't know how you write a song about something like that, but here we're gonna try to do it today. Okay. Cool. Thank you guys for chatting over that with me. It's great to hear some perspectives, and I look forward to writing this thing with you guys. So I like hope. I think that's a cool big idea, but what I said about the big idea is that we have to get highly specific with our hope, right? We have to figure out, what is it about hope that we want to instill? Do we want people that are feeling a particular way to not feel that way? Do we want people to not feel alone? And that's the thing that we're bringing hope? Or do we want to talk about how young minds are like, we got this? Derek, what was the line you said when you were trying to go to sleep that kept coming to you?
It was more like missing how it was before.
Okay.
You know, like I feel like I took a lot of it for granted, like how we go to school and stuff like that, and now we're just at home. And
Sure.
I'm starting to go out a little more, but like, I didn't know that I'll like miss a few things that I used to do. So that was kind of an idea.
Cool. Well, and that's two different ideas right now. So why don't we do this? Because because I would say the difference between COVID and the recent race relations stuff that we're dealing with, that's going to give us different evidence towards our big idea. Because one, we can paint pictures of isolation, of being stuck in our homes, of not being able to be normal. And then there's this whole other piece of evidence that we don't necessarily want to go back to normal. We need to be something better than normal. There's some improvements that need to be made. And that's a lot to deal with. That's a lot. So the thing about being highly specific is we're going to have to either pick one of those, or we're going to have to get to the big idea that maybe together we can make this happen. Like maybe that's a big idea worth saying. Like I think everyone kind of nodded their head. Like if we made it here, we can make it through this. Maybe that's it. Does that track with you guys?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool. So
we could do like together we can make a new normal.
Okay.
You know? And like it's not just with like the race relations, it's like everything. Like you kind of realize how like little you've done when you're like in the house all day. I'm like, I really didn't take advantage of anything.
I really,
you know?
Yeah.
So it's just everything, and like the way that we like I just want to meet new people and like just like live it up, you know? And that like being at home and just like in this uncertainty makes me want to like just do it more. Just want to live my life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Way. So.
But like that new normal thing that you were talking about, like I just think like this could go both ways. Like it could go for like what like the current situation of the pandemic, or even like race relations, like because the new normal, like when we think normal, like we think, oh, like pre-pandemic, right? But now that we're seeing all these protests and I mean I could say I was always aware of things going on. Like I always like on Instagram and trying to be as active in that like movement as I can, but a lot of people didn't see it. So like new normal would be like a world of love after, like a kind of like a like a new society, like a new if I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say, like because if you think about it, like it was never like normal, because this isn't normal. Hatred shouldn't be normalized. So like a new normal would be like post-pandemic, everything's fine, and love, you know? So that's what I was thinking.
I like that a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody tracking with that?
It makes sense. I agree with it. Mostly, yeah. I don't think hatred is like a huge part of what our normal was. I believe like most people are good. I think there's some like
I mean, hatred's taught.
People, yeah. I it does get taught like in many places, especially more like inland.
Yeah.
Like it does get taught. But I feel like vast majority of people are good people. Yeah. And like for every one bad thing you see, or like for every one bad thing you see like 50 new good things that no one wants to show you. And I think that the world is like, I think people are mostly good. But there's still things that need to be fixed. So
as you guys are talking, I don't know if this is a launching off point for us. And thanks for being open and sharing, guys. This is what songwriting is. It's trying to figure out how we feel, trying to find the stuff. This is what collaborative songwriting is. When you're in a room with somebody else, like you got to get on the same page, right? You got to figure out where you're at, because I think there is a power in collaboration in that you get another view, which helps refine your view, right? So I really like the idea of a new normal, like maybe even as the hook. I don't know if we can pull it off, but maybe we can. I think that's going to have a lot to do with our evidence and how we build towards it. So as you guys were talking, I've been taking notes. So again, sorry for the typing. But I came up with a couple lines here that I think encapsulates both ideas that we had coming in. So, and maybe it's not took the time, maybe it's could take the time. For some reason, I brought my guitar today. What if we were honest? What if we could choose? What if we took the time to learn about life from a new view? What if we knew? You know what I mean? Like, maybe, I know it's a little singer-songwritery for a lot of you guys. I heard the music you brought me. I get it. That's another thing about collaboration, right? Like, you know, there is some sacrifice that ends up having to come just because you're in a group of people that have to do this thing. So that's why I'm really excited about the homework. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I'm excited about it. All right. Look at those lines. What do you guys think? What can be different? What can be changed? Is this leading somewhere that you're excited about, or do we need to get more specific?
Yeah, I think it's just catchy like that, like just that like repetitive, like the what if we, because it's like kind of like interesting because you're like, oh, what's next? Like, what if we what? What if, like, where's this going? I think
Cool.
it's a really great start. Yeah.
Derek, what do you think, man?
I do like it's a good setup to a song that could talk about all those things that we talked about. So
Good.
I think pretty well.
So, or we could, what if we were honest? What if we could choose? What if we took the time to learn about life from a new view? What if we, so let's talk of some more what ifs.
I was thinking we could do like a what if we could like hear and then the voices of song and
Come
then
on,
go
yeah.
into
Yeah, don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
We're all friends here. We're all friends here. So here's the thing. That seems easy enough to me. Those first 4 lines seem like the beginning of a verse. We've got a choice here. We can either take that first part of the verse and repeat it. We can stick with the what ifs, or we can start a new thing. I think either one works, and it depends on where you're trying to head. If you end up keeping the same melody and the same chord progression, sometimes it's really effective to stick with what you've started, but sometimes it's better to switch it up just so people are thinking about a different thing before we take them into that chorus, because we're leading them down this path, right? We all know where we're going. We're going to the fact that like we want a new normal, or like we're looking forward to the new normal. We don't know what that is yet. There we go. That's cool. Thank you, Angela. And I also like, and I want to point out, we don't have to hate, we could learn to love. Those are 2 different lines that are also in the same meter of what I did above. So that was good work right there, right?
Yeah,
so like, yeah, no, but that's how it starts, right, guys? Like when you're writing a song, you make a decision and then you run with it. So like the decision, if we can stick with this thing, then we're at least going to have a meter. We're at least going to have a rhyme scheme. We know where we're headed. Like that's the blueprint, right? And then we'll change that up when we get to the pre-chorus or the chorus, depending on what happens when we get there, right? How much time do we have to say the thing that we want to say? I think that's cool. We don't have to hate. We could learn to love. I almost wonder if that isn't a little bit closer to the big idea than we've been so far, right? We don't have to hate. We could learn to love is very on point. It's very... Yes, yeah, there you go, Hannah. So like maybe that's a thing we lead up to. Maybe that's chorus material. Maybe that's bridge material. But it's important that we make all of this material before we assemble it, right? I hope we can recover so life can start again. It will all go back to normal, but who will tell us when? Now, great lines, great. It's sticking with our meter. It's got a rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme's slightly different, but that can all be adjusted. And this kind of brings a new question into it, right? It'll all go back to normal, but who can tell us when? But we want a new normal, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the only thing unusable from that. But recover, start again. Yeah.
learn about life from a new view, right? And then like, what if we could hear The words of our brothers about the world, they knew the world. And then I don't know how to like say like the world we have to create from the beginning, but in a way so that it fits in the meter and that it rhymes.
No, that's fine. This is
Yeah.
great. See, these are the ideas. This is it. So Hannah, I really like this. The thing that I'm also thinking about is kind of the same thing. You guys are so good at like hitting the big idea moments that Derek, thank you so much, man. At hitting the big idea moments that I almost want to save these good lines that you're coming up with for a little bit later in the song.
Mm. It's a little too close to giving it a little way too fast.
There you go, giving it away. That is a really, really smart. And do you guys notice in this collaboration how much space there is for all of us to think? That's songwriting too. If you think that you're just going to sit down and blah, blah, blah all the way, like that's just probably going to be stream of conscience. Your chance of that being good, look, it can be done, but chance of it being good, not very strong. Mm-hmm. So this is the work. This is the craft that we were talking about, right? I like the, if we haven't been the death of us, then nothing will. Like basically, like we're responsible for each other. Maybe is that kind of
it's
what?
Like if we come this far, then nothing can stop us. You know.
Okay.
I don't know how it flow. It could be a bridge or something, or like we just don't use it. But
yeah, no, that's cool, man. See, I love guys.
I don't know the rhyme structure too. Is it it's A-B at the beginning?
Right now, yeah, it is. But well, it's kind of A-B-C-B. As long as 2 and 4 rhyme, I think we're in the same spot. And let me just tell you how like proud I am that you guys are already thinking like, no, maybe this belongs here. Maybe this belongs here. Like I feel like I'm like a proud papa right now. I can't even tell you. Like, yeah, because some of the stuff that has an emotional tinge or says it just right needs to be saved for those moments musically that we get it there. That's good that we're going to hear that again. Do you know what I mean? Because when you put something in a chorus, you're singing that more than once most of the time. Let's make sure that they hear that thing again. Derek, I liked your I'm kind of feeling you on the bridge stuff, man. Like, because that's a little headier. It's a little bit more removed, but it's still important. And I saw Hannah nod her head when she was reading it out. You know what I mean? This sort of like, if we've come this bridge. Yeah, cool. Because then we're not as beholden to our rhyme scheme and our meter either, if we save that for the bridge. Everyone is contributing so well. Thank you. I know we're running long today, but this is great stuff. So, Hannah, I like your "What if we could hear the words of," and I just for meter's sake changed it to "the words of all our brothers," so it matched with our second line, right? So the what if we could hear the words of all our brothers. And then we're gonna have to rhyme brothers now. So I'm actually going to task you right now over the next few minutes to think about what that brothers rhyme is going to be.
Okay.
And you're going to put that into a second verse phrase. Okay. You can mute if you need to. Whatever you need to do to think about that. That's your task right now.
I don't know how to make a good like melody, or like I don't know. It's hard for it not to sound like another song.
Sure, that's fair, man. That's absolutely fair. And I think we talked about that a little bit in saying that at first it's going to sound like emulation. Do you know what I mean? It's just going to sound like somebody else because we can't get away from it. But again, the more and more songs you write, you start to develop your own style, your own feel, your own, but it only comes from doing. And that's kind of what we're trying to do right here. So
100 don't count.
There you go. Come on. I love it. All right. Let me throw something at you here. Because I liked what I put you on, Hannah, was I liked that in like a second verse after we've done a chorus because it's so pointed. So I'm gonna try a second stanza here before we hit our chorus and see where we're at. Maybe we need a pre-chorus. I'm not sure. But so like what if we were honest? What if we could choose? What if we took the time to learn about life from a new view? What if we could speak What if we could listen? What if time was all it took to find what we were missing? I don't know. But just kind of a like, because then we can start talking about the things that we're going to learn, right? So if we, and some of those lines can be beat and we can do something entirely different, but to find what we were missing, find what, because yeah, that felt a little clunky to me, right? The find what we were missing seemed like a mouthful. Maybe there's less syllables we can use there.
I like knowing what like your brain is going through when you're like thinking about how to better these lines, because it's like sometimes I know that something's off, but like I just don't know what I'm looking for it to change.
Sure, absolutely. Well, yeah, trying to keep an open book here, right? Given all the exercises we did a little bit last week, like we only have so many syllables in here. We need it to feel right. So let's make it feel right in the best way we can, Yeah, because find what that's 3 syllables. I think we can do 2 there.
What
And
go again?
You what?
What were the words again for?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll post it. I forgot. I actually think I already fixed it. So what if we could speak? Derek, I'm in D, by the way, if that helps with your guitar playing. What if we could speak? What if we could listen? What if time was all it took to see what we're missing? Yeah, and I missed the what. To see what. And by changing all that we to see what, I saved a syllable and got to say a little bit more to make it stronger. You know what I mean? To see what we're missing. I would love a pre here. And again, I know I'm driving a little bit more about this, and I would be much more democratic if we had more time on our hands. So please forgive me if I feel like I'm steamrolling a little bit here. It's all it took to see what we're missing. So what we know from our songwriting before, it's time to change it up, right? Like we can't go back into that phrasing. We got to go into a new phrasing. So it's something that I would call a pre-chorus, because I think we're going to need to connect our idea of the new normal to these things that we've just said, right? So if we're still trying to end up at the new normal in our chorus, we're going to need a pre that kind of drives us there.
We could do Anthony's Imagine thing.
Yeah. Okay. I almost want to save that for the chorus. I kind of almost do. I kind of do.
Very John Lennon-y.
Yeah. Imagine all the people. Okay, let's. Yes. Okay. And then Derek's already got our bridge idea feeling, and Hannah's got our second verse. So again, let's. This is an important song to me. I really love this message, and it may not be the very best thing that we can do, but it's going to be a good thing that we can do together. Fair deal? Let's go. We got to get off the what ifs, I think. I think we got to move on to a little more definitive speak, because we've asked a lot of questions now. I think we're going to lead people to the answer that we're going to provide now. Okay. So let's do a pre-chorus. And it can just be a 2-liner. It doesn't have to follow the same. It needs to rhyme, obviously, but it doesn't have to follow the same meter that we've been doing up to this point. So what I'm thinking here is we're asking a lot of what ifs. And the thing that I kind of want to do is, and maybe that's a bit confusing in the channel / pre-chorus, but I kind of feel like that. What if we could speak? Just go in a second. What if we could listen? What if some time was all it took to see what we're missing? But I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's running out. I think the place is here, and I think that time is now. and then we're into a chorus of some epic repute. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too banal for you guys. Maybe we want to say something different during that time. What are your thoughts? I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's running out. And this is all in reference to the time was all it took to see what we're missing. And if that's not clear enough,
It's not. I was very confused. I was like, wait, so you don't want change?
yeah. Yeah. So good. Great question. And that's why you throw your things out, right?
Oh, sorry. With all due respect.
Stop. It's collaborative. Okay. So like in my want and desire in that was to say, look, I don't think that it's coming. I think that it is here. And so I wonder if we can put those two lines together, because then we can say, like, to me, ideas from what you guys were saying is I just want to say, like, hey, we're all here now and we're all listening and we're all paying attention and we've got time and we've got intent and we have one another. And it's only in that way that we can become the new normal, or that we make the new normal, we create the new normal, or that we can see the new normal or bring the new normal to fruition, right? Does that track? Is that our messaging? Do you guys think that's where we want to end up?
I like that. And I like that we're using the time from the time was it all it takes to see.
Yeah, and maybe in context it feels better. We'll look at it here in a second about making that even better than we can. I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's running out. I think that place is here. I think that time is now. I don't know that those last two lines make the first two lines make sense. So, and if they don't, then they don't. Do you know what I mean? But maybe in context. Oh, this is funny. I wrote another one earlier that I completely forgot about and just found, because that's what I do sometimes. I think we got a chance to do it if we put our minds to it. Don't care what people say. We don't have to wait. I think it starts today. You know what I mean? And maybe that's a throwaway, and then we're sailing in the chorus. You know what I mean? And that gives us a little more repetitive, little boppiness to it, I guess. I don't know. What are we thinking over there, y'all?
Still don't know how to rhyme with brothers. I'm not even lying. Like I just spent like 5 minutes right now changing what if to and I know.
Okay.
So progress.
Okay. That's cool. But that's a good change, right? It's an
I think so, yeah.
important change to recognize.
Yeah, definitely. Derek,
what are you thinking over there, buddy?
I'm just thinking of a way to make it like, like, so it doesn't sound like it's like hanging on one chord for too long. So it has like those chords that like, I don't know, that like when you hear it, like this kind of chord, like when you go.
You're such a mayor head, man. I love it.
Totally, I can so hear it. I love it.
Something like that. Oh, John Mayer does that though.
Oh, thanks to you guys. Stop This Train is like, I've been singing it every day, by the way.
So glad about it.
I know, like, I can just sing right now.
Cool tune. It's a cool tune. I love it. Angela, thank you for this. Are you thinking about this as pre? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, like pre-chorus maybe.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's kind of like stolen, not really. Wow.
Blackbird.
So
that sounds like Blackbird, yeah.
It does. So Derek, I think that what you're doing right now inadvertently is you were writing the new chord structure fall down for that bridge that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. So, so what?
I'm such a Beatles fan. I was like Blackbird.
Blackbird. At a night. Okay. So Derek, that's on you then. You're gonna have to think about it. Is that a total ripoff? So find a lyric if you think you can of to fit to that chord progression that you want to be different. All right.
It's just hard. This is the first time I'm actually like doing this.
Hey man, that's why we're here, right?
It's only sometimes where like it all like comes together and you can kind of like write for like 10 minutes, but then I'm such a perfectionist. I don't end up writing a lot.
And I'll say that there are different processes for everybody.
Yeah.
I know that I know there are some writers that they'll write a line a day and then come back to the song later. Like I know that's what they do. But I also know in Nashville, I mean, we're doing 2, sometimes 3 songs a day. And we're talking, but it's a muscle. Do you know what I mean? It's a muscle that you have to train, and you decide, because if you're not pumping it out for your life's work, then, you know, you can look at songs less like Cheetos where you can always make more. Right. But at some point I've really appreciated the ability and the challenge of writing that often, because now I'm also learning how to be more meaningful more often, because what I call it is, I call it like woodshedding. Like it's all of those things that you do as you're practicing something. And then when inspiration strikes you, you have all of this to pull from that you've already done. You're like, oh man, I can actually borrow from this song. I didn't get it right there. I can get it right now. And so sort of in the way that we are, like, we're going to have 9 pre-choruses done when this is all over. And maybe we end up pulling that lyric for a second verse or for part of that bridge, you know, like I don't think any work goes to waste, especially if it's good work, you know, and you know how good it is compared to the other work that you end up doing. So, if it were me, I would not just write 10 minutes at a time, but I also know if somebody asks you to run a marathon straight off the couch, you can't do it. You can't do it. You got to run a little bit first and then try to build on it the next time. So what do we think? Angela's got a thing for a pre here. Brighter day, get along. Because remember, our big idea, we're going to try to figure out how to get to the new normal. So maybe this pre-course is a chance to talk about what normal is a little bit. Maybe we need to go ahead and start hinting at that, you know, to the way it was, you know, maybe we say it's not going to be the way it was. Like, I know.
Yeah, I was like hinting towards when I was like to right our wrongs, because like we're talking about like, I'm still talking about like hope, like, oh, we'll see a brighter day, but I'm still like, but not like exactly how it was before.
Sure. And because of the big idea, if we're still sold on this idea, because we always have to check up on it, right? If we're still sold on the idea, what we want to do is get people to the idea that like we are in charge of bringing about the new normal. Is that still where we're at? Do you think that our verse up to this point has served us in that way? What if we were honest? What if we could choose? What if we took the time to learn about life from a new view? What if we could speak? What if we could listen? What if time was all it took to see what we were missing?
Yeah, that last line like really is hinted towards like to right now, like what we're going through.
Sure. So it pushes us there, right? Time was all it took to see what we're missing. So like maybe the next line, like if you were just going to say something, like I almost want to say something like, so I think it's time we take it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next thing that needs to be said. I think it's time we take it. I think it's time we see that normal how we've made it ain't all that it could be.
Yeah.
Right? Because I also think that like sort of transitions us from saying like, because we're asking all these questions, and now we had an opportunity there in our pre to say, well, in light of those questions, this is what I think. And now I think our chorus is going to be able to give that definitive moment. This is where we build the big idea exactly. This is when we get specific, exactly what we mean, right? I think it's time we take it. I think it's time we see that normal how we've made it ain't all that it could be. And again, if we had a little bit more time, I think maybe we could do something different or better. But right now, today, and the other thing I kind of like about that pre is that we still keep the repetition from above, but that repetition has changed. So it's no longer a question; it's now a statement. So what if we, and now it's I think it's a normal how we've made it and all that it could be. So now the chorus, you got me all inspired here, y'all.
We don't have to hate, like we could learn to love. I think I said like something like that.
Yep. Bring it back.
I think that's like really forward, like it's just straight to the point, like because I mean if anyone else like has something.
It's great.
Each other rhymes with brothers.
Each other. Come on now. Hey, who's got a clock on that? Who's got a clock on that? Is that?
Oh my gosh. I'm dead. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm very proud of myself, guys.
You should probably go have a cookie or maybe take a nap after that. Really?
No, she has a final to take. That's her.
She does. Yeah. Please no naps. Oh, sorry to remind you.
Thank you.
What if we, so you know how we kind of borrowed this idea of time from our verse to our pre?
Yeah.
What if we took, like, what if we just named all the things that we wish it were? Maybe we don't have to juxtapose anymore, right? Maybe we don't have to say we don't have to hate. We could learn to love, because I think people have the time and space in a verse to think about opposites like that. But in chorus, I think we just need to be definitive. Like we've driven people. So I almost would want to say like, in all that it could be, maybe the chorus is just, it could be love. It could be peace. It could be this. It could be, it could be you. It could be me. It could be this and this and this and no. You know, I don't know how we're gonna rhyme normal, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out when we get there.
I had trouble with brothers, so don't ask me.
Hey, no, hey, listen, we're all in this together. We are all in this together, and I mean that, not in like some pandery sort of way.
Well, formal rhymes with normal, but I don't know how you would put that.
I know. I thought about formal too, but I'm like, that's weird to sing. So, Andrew, you sent us something else too that was more than a couple lines. Maybe it was for part of your pre. Would you repost that?
Yeah, I think it was like what I had written about the pandemic when I sent the lyrics.
Cool. Yeah. Send that back. Because as I said, like I think that these ideas are not all that different.
I think it's like just talking about normal, but I think it wasn't like a new normal. It was just.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't think it's fine. Or I think it's, and then I put like, this is something else I wrote. I don't know which one you were talking about.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just put it all in there. Cool, Hannah. I like that. Okay, KK. I like the generation stuff here, Ange. I like your workhorsedness about this too. This
literally reminds me of the John Mayer song. We waiting on the world to change.
Oh yeah. Well, and his big idea was sort of for that song that made it different was that he was kind of inadvertently having a call to action here. I don't know that we have a call to action necessarily as part of our big idea. Ours is more of a asking people to realize. Yeah. I think that's where we're headed, because a call to action might be a little too much right here. Trying to figure out how to do this generations thing here, Ange. I'm thinking about, without getting to MJ Heal the World about it, trying to figure out how.
I was literally thinking of that song. I was like,
it was gonna happen, especially in light of something like this. And some of these things, like yeah, I wonder if
I don't want it to sound generic. I'm
Hey,
scared
man.
to sound like that.
You're such an individualist. Oh man, Derek.
That's
just-
like when I'm on the piano and I'm trying to write a song and I'm like, ugh, this chord sounds like every other song.
you got to start somewhere, y'all.
Oh my
You gotta
God.
start somewhere.
It sounds like. Oh my God, I hate that. I hate it.
Ah,
Derek, the things you're saying is literally my brain every single time. I just don't let myself listen to my brain because that's like, you know, it's too true. And like, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm writing, I just shut my brain off or else I just won't write because I get too scared.
because we didn't have our trying to find new normal and knowing that normal is just a tough word to rhyme. I'm going to throw an idea. I'm not saying this is where we end up, but I need some thoughts and some input on this. I'm throwing a chorus up here.
Okay.
I think we could beat those third and fourth lines. I think they're a little plain Jane for me. But they were just some filler just to get some ideas.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like,
I
But
actually like the third and fourth lines out of
yeah.
okay,
most.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. And maybe we might even add a really in there before being. Because if we're really being honest, you know what I mean? Like it depends, I think, in the moment and what our melody ends up being. And
Yeah.
you almost don't even know what that's going to be, right? All right.
Yes, I made it fit.
You got a bridge?
No, that could be the chorus. I made it fit, that thing.
Okay.
Sing it,
play,
Derek. We
yeah,
wanna
play
hear
it for us, man.
Wait, chorus? After, wait,
Whatever you have, yeah.
E, A, and then the.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's so
All right, so let's check it. Let me drop all of this in order.
Okay, that'll make it really helpful.
It's gonna be real helpful. So I think we've got 2 stanzas of a verse, or we could call them verse 1, verse 2. Depends. It's entirely up to you. I tend to think it's 2 stanzas of the first verse, and then we got the pre, and then the chorus. I just broke up into 2 different, but that space probably shouldn't be there. So if I'm just looking at this, I'd be like, what if we were honest? What if we could choose? What if we took the time to learn about life from a new view? What if we could speak? What if we could listen? What if time was all it took to see what we're missing? And I think it's time we take it. I think it's time we see the normal and how. I don't know how I was going to do that. But normal how we made it ain't all it could be. 'Cause it could be love, it could be, I don't even know if chord progression. It could be love, it could be peace, it could be you 'Cause if we're being honest, normal ain't good enough. You know, something like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
The whole thing. I don't know how you do it.
Like, honestly, like
You
I'm
get
not
better
even.
at it. No, I can see how someone can get better at it though.
Yeah.
Man, that's what this whole thing is about, you know, right? Like,
I'm like sitting here like, did he plan this whole thing out? Like, did he just?
dude, no way, no, this is real time. You guys did inspire me though last time we were chatting. I mean, I did write some other stuff, and maybe I'll finish it up and share it with y'all. But no, this was all brand new today, just from.
Yo, but like the direction of the chorus and like how intense it was, I think that's perfect. Like,
Cool.
especially for like right now and what we're going for. Like, do that hit. And I know you were just like playing around and you were just like finding a melody, but that was like, woo, sheesh.
Well, it's usually a good indicator, right? That like we're in a room, we know that, and when you collaborate with good people that have good thoughts, you know if the people in the room know it and understand it, that you're onto something good, and that's a good indicator when you're collaborating, right? It's tough, man. There's a lot of egos. Everyone has different ideas. Let me do this for you guys, and I know this was kind of quick and whiz bang and all that kind of stuff, but we have here basically a verse, a pre, and a chorus. And I think what I'd like to do is I'm gonna make a work tape, basically close enough to what we just did or what I just sang. Something I'll probably alter it a little bit here. What I'd like to do for our homework here, if we can, I want you guys to finish the song. Okay, so we've got two verses or two stanzas of a verse. We've got a pre-chorus and we have a chorus. What I'd like to hear from you guys, and I know we've only got a few days to do it, so it's on. It's on. It's going to take some active working, but really all I'm asking for is like a half verse or one stanza of the second verse maybe, and that'll throw us right back into this chorus, and a bridge material. Maybe we'll get a solo out of Derek. I'm not sure. But we need something lyrically that keeps us going, that keeps telling this story.
Wait, so how many more stanzas? Just like
I would say we could get away with one stanza and then throw it right back into that chorus. Because I want to hear that chorus again. You know what I mean? But I think we get specific. I think what Hannah was working on with Brothers and Others, awesome.
Yeah.
She's already halfway done with the homework. You're welcome. But everybody else, bring me what you would want to say. Like where does the song go in your mind? Because I think what we're going to find is even in collaboration, even when we're all on the same page at this point, there are infinite ways to take this, and all of them can serve the big idea in a different and more special way, in a way that I think that we can figure it out. So I know this was kind of slapdash and I was kind of steamrolling through this thing, which normally wouldn't be this, but you guys can make it yours in this second verse and this bridge. And I think that would be really cool, because I think I'd like to hear it or at least read it. I won't make you perform it next week. Great work today, guys. Thank you so much. Next week, we're also going to go over, not just we're going to hear from you guys and how the songs were finished, and maybe even try to slap them together into some nice cohesive thing, but also we're going to talk about what it means to share these songs, like maybe quick and easy ways to record them, figuring out what we're going to do to prepare to play those songs out or to share them with somebody, whether it's a performance opportunity or whether we realize we need a lyricist like Ange, or we need an idea person like Hannah, or we need a lick guy like Derek. Like we need to figure out some collaborative way to make this thing the very best that it can be with the people that are on board with it, right? And so we'll talk about a few ways to do that at home, really cheaply and or free, and try to figure out if there isn't a way. We'll talk about YouTube, which I'm sure you guys know enough about, but we're going to talk about ways to publish this and put it into the world so we can see if it affects people or see what we can get better at. So that'll be the reveal on episode 5. All right. But I hope you guys had a little bit of fun today. I hope it was a little bit enlightening, a little bit of good stuff. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with over the next few days until we meet again. All right.
Yeah.
So be safe out there. Take care of one another, and I will see you next time. Okay.